In this video, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be speaking with the owner of a company called Charta. If you're not familiar with Charta, Charta is a company that makes it easy for you to get legally binding contracts with a producer, artist, engineer, etc. There's no need to go to an attorney and spend $4,000 on a contract that you don't understand. Essentially, it's just a PDF. So Charta makes that super simple. It's a company that I found recently, and I think it's a game changer for the music community. So sit back and enjoy the conversation between myself and Zach from Charta. You get me.
What's good, man? How you been?
I'm good, bro. How about you? How's everything?
Doing well, yeah.
I wanted to get a little bit of background information on you. Like, how did you start Charta? What is it? Why did you start it? Give me the rundown of how it started, why you wanted to start this company.
Yeah, so I'll give you the full backstory on myself. I actually graduated law school in 2012 from UC Berkeley. I worked for two international law firms doing M&A and securities work. It was really crazy going from law school to being in practice because when I was in law school, it was super fun. It was school. You always were thinking, using your brain. And you start practicing law, doing contracts and securities work, and it was just really repetitive. It was crazy. I was like, man, this is like the same thing over and over again. And so I started thinking about ways that I could make contracts faster back then. I didn't really have a good idea. I was thinking about how I could get like the first draft done a little bit faster, but that wasn't really the full process being reimagined the way that it is with Charta. Like my whole life, I've been a huge music fan, but while I was working, I was still going to shows, still hanging out with musicians and producers. And I was looking for a new challenge after working in those big law firms. And when my buddies asked me if I would manage them, I was like, that sounds like an incredible opportunity, a really cool challenge. I want to take that on. And so I ended up leaving the law to manage him. It didn't work out, but I moved to Los Angeles, got a job at ETA, which is a big Hollywood talent agency, worked there for about 2 years, and then went back into law, but for an entertainment law boutique. I kind of married up those two worlds. I did corporate work for massive artists like Metallica, Tyler, the Creator, did a lot of entertainment work for developing artists, and even some bigger acts like Steve Aoki and Skrillex. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I really enjoyed it. But as I got deeper and deeper into the entertainment side of things, I realized that there are all these really simple copyright assignment agreements, clearance agreements that musicians need to get done with their collaborators in order to make sure that they have all the rights they need to monetize their music. And then that same thought came back to me where I said, there has to be a way to get these simple agreements done a lot faster. What I thought about was, what if my clients were able to come to me with all the terms already negotiated? And then as I thought about it, I was like, like that final piece generating that contract, that could be automated if you do the front part of the process, which is the two parties having that full conversation and negotiating everything. If they could do all that in plain English and in a platform that captured the data, then we'd be rocking and rolling. That's exactly what it does. We have the two users go through just a conversation all in plain English. Once you're done negotiating with one another, then we can automatically generate that contract for you. So I'm super excited.
So initially you came up with the idea to speed up your process and to almost help other attorneys, essentially, right?
Yeah, I was trying to get the simple stuff off my desk because as an attorney, even though we're attorneys, we've been to law school, there are contracts that are simple for us. All those little deals that need to get done because labels won't release music without it, they just stack and stack and stack.
It is really slow. And you, the artist, you're kind of just like sitting back. You don't understand a lot of it. You don't know why things are taking so long. And you're giving up a percentage, or you're paying the attorney fees. And on top of that, you're paying your manager fees. I think that's why Charta is such a great thing, because it makes the independent game just a little bit easier. I think it's such a great tool that producers, artists, engineers, they need it.
Yeah. And I have a ton of empathy for people that just don't get the contracts done today. There is a big risk to that under the US Copyright Act. In order for a clearance agreement to be effective, it needs to be in writing and signed by both parties. But I can understand why people don't want to do it, because you make music, you don't make contracts. It's not a good use of your time.
People get nervous when they hear the word contract. Another great thing about Charta is that it doesn't feel like that when you're going through the questionnaire, when you're going through the forms, when you're going through the negotiation. It feels super natural, streamlined, and it's a quick and easy process to the point where you don't have to feel nervous.
I'm super excited to have this out there in the market to help people. It used to be for contracts, people would just have a conversation and they just write down what they wanted to have the contract themselves, and they'd sign it, they'd move on with their lives. There really wasn't this whole system of having lawyers who write and read in legalese until like the turn of the 19th century. And so I can only imagine someone grabbing a template off the internet and then trying to read it. Like, that's crazy.
Do you think it's on purpose that they keep it like that so people don't really understand it?
I think it just becomes a language that you speak once you're trained as an attorney. It's something where once you speak it, you can speak it to other attorneys, and it allows you to do your job. And so it's really important to learn. And then once you learn it, you're kind of just in it all the time. So it doesn't even strike you that you're gatekeeping people away from understanding what's in a contract. That's exactly why we made Charta. We're like, it should just be a conversation.
And that's what you guys turned it into. It's just an easy process.
You're just having a conversation with someone you work with, that you vibe with, that you made art with. And then once you're done with that conversation, a legal document pops up with everything you want. You sign it, you move on.
To jump into a little bit of it, where the process goes for anybody that doesn't know, you fill out, your questionnaire. Takes minutes pretty much to get from one end to the other. And then at the end of it, it spits out a fully legalized contract. How does the back end work, without, giving away secrets or anything like that?
So from our perspective as a platform, we're waiting on two parties to agree to one set of terms. So the way it works is the first party goes through a questionnaire. Like you said, it takes minutes. We've been seeing people get it done in 2 minutes or less for the first time when they use the platform, which is incredible. That makes me so excited. So one person does that, they get their questionnaire done. At the end of that questionnaire, you will have created a complete offer. So we take those two offers, we compare them, and we have the same questions. So if there are two different answers for one question, that means you don't agree. We put you into a dashboard, we put you into a negotiation summary, and you can actually use the platform to go back and forth and negotiate with one another. And the idea is that you're working together to create that one set of terms you both agree to.
I love it. It's just so easy. But yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. When somebody says they're nervous about signing a contract or, getting into that, what would be the advice that you would give somebody that says, I'm nervous about signing anything?
It's a great question. First, like the easiest answer, if you're a producer, get it in writing, sign it so that you get paid. I can't tell you how many friends of mine who are producers who have worked on a project. They didn't really know the ropes yet. They didn't know how to protect themselves. A bounce gets sent to somebody and they're gone. They never get paid. That's a really big motivation for me, at least, to tell people to get it signed up, get it papered. It doesn't have to be that hard. Like you can get a contract done on Charta in less than 10 minutes.
I have a strong feeling that Charta is going to make a lot more people feel comfortable about getting into legally binding agreements.
And people think that trust, that sort of familial or friendship-based trust, is going to be really powerful and that people won't break that trust. And based on my 8 years in the biz, I've seen a lot of people who've lost friends. It's a lot more common than you think.
Yeah, man. It's wild. I'd go back a little bit, dive a little bit deeper into like who you've worked with and like what you've done specifically with them. I think that's really cool to know.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll hop in with Steve Aoki. So I helped clear his album Neon Future 4. It was a double album, 24 tracks. And we must have had like 100 of these clearance agreements. No joke. So the partner at my old firm that works with Steve is incredible. Her name is Leslie Frank. She's this really kind woman who's a great mentor to me. And I'd asked to like get more involved with the clearance process with doing more entertainment work. And she looped me in. She's like, you want in? You got it. And so, yeah, it was just crazy being a part of that process. And, we couldn't get that record out until we had all the agreements done.
I mean, I give you a lot of credit for coming up with something like that. That's going to change that. Cause I think it's one small aspect of this industry that needs to completely change. And I think, companies like you guys are doing a great thing for producers and other attorneys. Honestly, like I said, it's a win-win for both parties. Have you ever seen a project just not happen because, maybe lawyers were just taking so long and it just never got done?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. And like, if you've ever had a favorite artist push their release date, it's because of these agreements. That happens a lot.
I feel like there's so many opportunities for Charta to like partner with maybe distribution companies. Like, how do you feel about that?
100%. Yeah, we've already got a couple of those talks in the works, which is incredible. I think we're an incredible partner for distros because let's say you're signed to STEM. I'm an artist, you're my producer, we get our deal done. All I have to do is just log in with my Charta account to STEM and all my data just gets uploaded. So I don't need to re-enter the splits manually. We don't have to have a separate process with STEM where like you have to accept the split and like do all that. It just gets done automatically. We've been speaking to the distros about that and they're incredibly excited. I think they see the future.
Next question I have is a little bit more for personal use, I guess. I run my own business. I have to get into different types of agreements here and there with maybe other brands, or because I do a lot of brand deals. I also do some partnerships here and there with launches. Do you see it ever getting to a point where you can switch that up and it could be a part, like you can create a contract with a brand?
We're not tied to the music industry. We're not tied to TV, film, games, anything. To your question about can brand deals get done on this platform? Absolutely.
It's awesome, man. Like you said, it's a brand new way. It's a brand new process in general.
I think Charta, it's like, bro, it's less than 10 minutes. Like it's 2 minutes to get one of these questionnaires done. Like we're working on making this process even faster. Trust me. I want to make it so you can do it before you leave the studio.
When you have an agreement set in place that took you 10 minutes, you don't have to worry about that. It's peace of mind.
It's one of those things where for now, people don't realize they need it until they really need it. And we're just trying to get you a little bit ahead of it. Let's put it this way. In terms of peace of mind, would I as an artist pay $10 so I can agree with like you as my producer that I'm going to pay you profit splits quarterly and not get that Venmo request every month? That's worth $10 right there, man.
It is. It's gonna be a great thing for the community, bro. Like I said, I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. I'm all about stuff like this for the community, beating up the process for people, making people able to understand things a lot more clearer, making it easy, just making it easy for people to be covered.
Just try and do a lot of good, man. That's what it's all about. Make art the star here, not the lawyers. Live or die based off your art, not based on whether or not like you can read legalese. That's what it should be about, man.
Thanks for sticking through and watching this conversation between myself and Zach from Charta. Want to try out Charta for yourself? Hit the link down in the description below. And as always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a friend if you get me.